Yeah? Can you hear me? Well, good morning, Nigeria. And today, let's pause for a moment. No rush, no pretense. Don't worry, just calm down. Let's strip away the everyday chatter and get real here. I want to ask you a question. How are you doing? I don't mean the automatic response that you toss out whenever you're asked that question. I mean, truly, how are you feeling this moment? In this relentless whirlwind that has become our daily existence? Because truth is, if we're being honest, it hasn't been very easy for all Nigerians. For months, even for a year, the everyday Nigerian has battled forces beyond control, and yet, with every sunrise, we all rise too. You keep stepping out the door each day with a gritty smile, carrying the weight of the world on your shoulders, but refusing to let it crush your spirit. And that is the mark of true resilience. And it deserves recognition. So hear to every Nigerian out there. For so long, it's been endless policies that tried and failed to touch your daily life, that beat you down. But no, Nigerians are tougher than that. It's not the empty promises. I mean, hey, the speeches that go on forever and go nowhere, or the countless plans that never see the light of day. It's not even the long-standing absence of power that gets you down. Somehow, we found ways to manage that. In most homes, generators hum through the entire night, and even businesses too, and markets. And despite the constant battle with blackouts, every Nigerian out there, we still find light in the darkest of places. But the truth is, the blow, well, they've been coming from all sides lately, and they haven't even let up. For some, it's the cost of living, tidal waves that have drowned families, even the most resilient among us. And the prices of food, transportation, and basic necessities, they're becoming very unbearable. Now, the average Nigerian can't seem to catch a break. And there's always something, an obstacle in the form of one policy or the other, or a lack of basic amenity that other nations seem to take for granted, that we keep chasing after. But we keep going because that's what Nigerians do. But every family, every person has a breaking point. And just when we thought that we had a firm grip on things, the government hits us with another fuel price hike. We've barely had time to recover from the last one, and now we're staring down the barrel of high transportation fares, even higher, worsening hunger, and an economy that seems to be pushing more of us to the edge. It's driving us crazy. In places like Lagos, Abuja, and Kano last week, the ripple effects are already becoming very, very evident, with commuters stranded, businesses cutting costs, families struggling to put food on the table. And it's not just about fuel, it's the domino effect of the entire economy. We've become experts at survival. Yeah, but the question you should ask is, please, who did we offend to be handed yet another burden? The truth is, Nigeria's struggles are no longer stories. The latest chapter is this, not just another series of unfortunate events, and we just keep taking them. But here's the thing. You, the everyday Nigerian, you refuse to bend under the weight. No matter how hard things get, you show up, you fight back, you survive. And that in itself is a revolution. But the question is, at what point do we say, enough is enough? How much more can we take? There's a difference between surviving and thriving. And while we've mastered the art of surviving, it's time to shift focus. We cannot afford to be passive players in our own lives anymore. The era of sitting back and letting things happen to us has just ended. We can't allow unaccountability to be the norm, letting those in power make decisions that impact our lives without considering the true weight of their actions. We need to take charge. We need to ask questions, demand answers, and hold our leaders accountable. That's my philosophy. As Nigerians, our strength is undeniable, but so too must be our awareness of the civic duties that are ours. We need to rise not just as individuals, but as a collective force that demand for better. We're not powerless. In fact, we hold more power than we even imagine, but only if we choose to wield it. Whether it's through voting, speaking out, or simply staying informed, each of us has a role to play in shaping the future of this nation. So, Nigeria, hold your head up high. The road may be rough, the challenges many, but we are not defeated. We are the ones who will rebuild, reimagine, and reclaim our future. And it starts today. And while I was focused on knowing how the viewers is faring, I might have inadvertently forgotten to ask my co-host here today, Judith, how she's doing. So, Judith Atibi, how are you doing?
You know what my answer always is, don't you?
Tell me again.
I'm doing, I'm just doing.
You see, that's the resilience for every Nigerian out there. You're exactly one sample of 250 million people. We're doing.
Oh, yes.
We
are doing.
In any case, now let's dive into today's stories. Let's keep the energy alive. Let's examine the headlines, challenge the narratives, and engage with the issues that matter most. Stay with us here as we start today's series for Breakfast Extra. Welcome and good morning.
And a very good morning to you and welcome to today's edition of Breakfast Extra. It's the first installment for this weekend. And of course, as always, we have a loaded lineup that touches on some of the most pressing and dynamic topics both in Nigeria and across Africa. And of course, shocking revelations surrounding illegal migration. We're going to be talking a bit about that later on the show today. And we'll also discuss the case of the repatriated Nigerian girls returning to Mali despite government efforts. And we'll also turn our focus later on today with our eyes on World Sight Day, where we'll shine a light on health and eye health, specifically with, these eye diseases like cataracts and glaucoma on the rise. It's very critical that we understand the importance of regular checkups and prevention. And in addition to that, we will also touch on the growing crisis in Rivers State with the politics there, which has sparked protests and factionalization in PDP, as well as, look at the rising cost of petrol in Nigeria. So I would say buckle up, or better yet, grab yourself a cup of tea and come join myself and Mazino this morning for very, very important discussion.
I'm keeping a buckle up because in Nigeria, you need to buckle up. It's a topsy-turvy roller coaster ride. Even if there's no fuel, we're still on that ride.
Oh, yes.
There is fuel. It's just very expensive to get. I bought my tank of fuel for 22,000 naira. In a bike, not a car. So if a bike can take 22,000 naira, you can imagine what a car.
Wait, that's
about 20
liters?
that's about 19 liters of fuel. 22,000.
Golly.
And we're still getting hoodwinked at the fueling stations because
don't get me started.
Their meters are not correct.
Don't get me started in that one.
A very interesting experiment. We took a 4-liter gallon over to the fueling stations and bought 4 liters of fuel.
Right.
There was still about 3/4 of a liter.
There we go.
That unaccounted for. Let's put it so. So we're still getting. I was going to use another word.
Don't get me started in that one because we'll be here all day. It will be here all day. And it's heartening because every single time we're here, and I always say this, and hopefully that we continue to have conversations like this, and that is the fact that as Nigerians, we also hurt each other. Mm-hmm. It's not just about the government. It's not just about the policies. We as a people, we hurt each other. And we and I don't know what that mentality, whether it's a scarcity mentality, whether because we've been forced as people to, do with the very little
We've
that
been
we have.
abused ourselves.
You know, but we hurt each other in the most vile, inhumane way, and we're so inconsiderate as a people. So it bothers me when you think about it. And look, we're going to get into that. But anyway,
do better, Nigeria. Do better.
Do better,
Judith,
yeah.
Let's do the dailies for this morning.
Absolutely.
I'm told that we have our very first daily ready, and that will be The Guardian, which is very tacit this morning, unlike what it's used to be. There's normally a very big cartoon on there and plenty of headlines, but today's one's very scarce. Faith or fraud? Troubling trend of divine merchandising in religious centers. Who spoke about this from weeks ago? VDM. I shudder to mention his full name. And there we have our cartoon like from before. Miracle oil for sale, and look at the wad of cash that lady is passing on. But this is not the strips. Don't let me get started on that one. Very interesting headline there. And at the top, echoes from Southwest APC caucus meeting in Lagos. And Macallan unveils tales of the Macallan Volume 2 to mark 200th anniversary. And Tinubu heads to Paris for key engagement. There were many talks about his leaving Nigeria, leaving us in starvation while he's going to vacation, but not vacation, as we have been told. He's off on business. Finally, the bottom for The Guardian, 5 more tactical errors Tinubu must clear. That's it for The Guardian this morning for Saturday.
We'll switch gears now to the Vanguard for today. Ajoro reveals understanding with Tinubu, and you can find that story on page. That story there is on page 9. We accepted 70,000 naira minimum wage for government not to increase fuel price. Petrol price deregulation. Federal government jacks up landing costs for imported products. The story is on page 6. At the top there, this civil rule is no democracy. Nigerians bemoan impunity of president governors. Recommend ways to check their excesses. You can find that story on page 10. What may stop new CJN, Kerekere from surprising Nigerians, or Shoma? You can find that story on page 8. Eagles dominate, score only once. That's giving Nigeria 1, Libya 0. That's from our finals yesterday. That story is on page 6. At least we beat them. At least we beat them. There we go. Page 16 and 17. War without end. PDP crisis takes dangerous twist. That story is on page 8. I go there, some beautiful ladies there. Nollywood damsels share love, emotions, sensual photos for us. Anyway, moving on. At the bottom there, why boat mishaps will continue in... All right, we'll switch gears from that now to... Yes, why boat mishaps will continue in Nigeria. Experts, that story is on page 27. Help, low-calorie diet may affect... May be effective than fasting for longevity. There's also typographical error. I knew it.
Always said it, but nobody believed me.
What is that?
Yeah, low calorie is actually better than starving yourself.
But
people think that you have to starve yourself to
Don't mind them.
Don't do that. Eat 3 square meals. Just make sure it's square enough. That's what I say to people.
Oh, yes,
But don't take it from the news anchor. Of course, your fitness coach at the fitness place is a better option, I guess.
Honestly, the truth of the matter is you shouldn't be starving yourself. You should always eat, but make sure there's a calorie deficit when you're eating.
Punch for Saturday this morning. Let's head on to the Punch and see what we have there. As the first headline that meets you would be fuel price hike. Nigerians lament worsening hunger, soaring transport fares. Transport fare rises by 100%, food price soars. And I hear that businesses are beginning to take measures. Some are asking workers to come in for only 3 times a week because, I mean, can you increase that pay? No. Perhaps maybe we should just reduce the number of times we ask them to use logistics so they can save more. At the top for the Punch, I studied 9 foreign universities before starting Covenant, says Oyedepo. And Dangote direct purchase, marketers demand work in refineries. I've never had 1 million naira balance in my account, says BBN winner Kelly Ray. Okay, good for you.
Okay.
Profiting from... I kind of like snuck in there. I wasn't really going to do that, but it snuck in there. Profiting from pain, house cut makers promotes discrimination amongst PWDs for online fortune. That's a subject for another day, and I believe that we should have that. Nigeria has only 80 heart surgeons. Association President Ituoma says, and bandits heighten killing spree as military fails to capture Bela Turkey. Why I can't practice medicine in Nigeria. Again, popular Canada-based physician Dr. Zoe, and at the bottom, 16 states carpet EFCC amidst lingering 776 billion naira fraud cases. That's all for the Punch this Saturday. What else do we have, Judith?
Yes, indeed. We'll move away from the Saturday Punch to our next paper for today. And, of course, is the Saturday Independent. The first one that comes at you there, how CNG, that's a compressed natural gas, may offer a compelling alternative to gasoline, diesel. And that story there, you can find that on page 8. And that statement there is from federal government oil marketers. It's budget-friendly transportation solution. Motorists' pressure on petroleum products will be reduced. And that's from Busei Efikpo. Experts want government to address high cost of converting existing vehicles to CNG. CNG can find that story and more on page 8 of the Saturday Independent. Governors unite for girl child education, kick off nationwide enrollment drive as federal appropriation hits 4.6 trillion naira in 2024. You can find that story on page 3. At the top there, UK to dip in collaboration on civil service reforms. That story is on page 30. And NPCL GMD Melekariari loses 25-year-old daughter. Oh my goodness, I'm so sorry for your loss, sir. That story is on page 30. Integrate IREV into Electoral Act. Yaga Africa urges NAS. That story is on page 6. And when you go to the bottom there, governors unite for girl child education, kick off nationwide enrollment drive as federation appropriation hits 4.6 trillion naira in 2024. I think I read that earlier, and that's on page 3. People copy my sound because I'm a hit maker, Humble Smith. Oh, okay. Aren't you like a one-hit? Moving on. You can find that series on page 19. Court bars PDP NEC BOT vote from sacking Damagum as acting national chairman. Opposition lawmakers express joy over his suspension. That story is on page 4. Nigerians' justice system in crisis. Delays, despair, and a cry for reforms. That story is on 29. And some entertainment for you. As creatives, Wole Soyinka taught us to critique ourselves. And that there is from actor Yemi Sholade. You can find that story on page 9. And that's all for this Saturday Independent.
We're moving now to the Saturday Times, and rights violation on the rise as NHRSC receives 305,300 petitions in 1 month. That's a lot. And once again, a revisit to that topic on skip makers, how they become the new oil, says Baba de Baba. Very true. PDP crisis festers, court stops Damagun, Anyawu's suspension, opposition caucus backs Yayari as acting chairman, and health wonders of Soursop leaves. Do you like Soursop? Do you like it?
Oh, yeah, I love it. Love it. I like to juice it with pineapple.
Don't mistake it with the jackfruit. It's very different from the jackfruit.
I know the jackfruit.
Okay.
Yeah, it's green now, isn't it?
Yeah, they're all
very soft.
Most of them.
And has seeds in it, and
Yes.
it's white.
Good.
It's good.
You know the one.
I love it with pineapple. Delicious.
It's good for you, actually.
I could keep going. Make
all
me
right,
stop.
enough. Thank you. And the picture here that warms my heart is one of a leatherback turtle being released back into the ocean somewhere in Bayelsa State. This is something that happens very frequently, even here in Lagos. I remember one time we actually had to contribute to buy a turtle that we found at the Eco Hotel and Suites, right outside as it was being sold. At the time, we bought it for 200,000 just to release it back into the ocean because it was going to become a pepper soup after. But thank goodness.
Good times.
And that's as much as we can take for the dailies this morning. Thank you very much for hanging with us, or starting early with us rather, to take the dailies. We implore you to stick around because coming up we've got very interesting topics to discuss, a very interesting big report to take, and of course you to get informed. Stay tuned. We'll be back. This is Breakfast Extra. Welcome back. Today, in our big report segment, we turn our focus to the escalating political crisis in Rivers State. The ongoing turmoil has seen some local government secretariat complexes set ablaze And in response, pro-Fubara supporters have vowed to occupy these offices until peace is fully restored across the affected local government areas. This unfolding crisis has left many concerned about the state of governance in Rivers State, especially in light of recent violent incidents. Meanwhile, the newly deployed Commissioner of Police, Bala Mustafa, has pledged swift action to restore calm in these areas with assurance that law and order will soon return. But will this be enough to bring about stability?
Only time will tell. So let's take another look at that report as filed in by Austin Azu, who has been closely monitoring the developments in Rivers State. Let's hear his report.
It's day 2 since the newly sworn-in chairmen and councillors in Rivers State, absorption of their offices was marred by violence, gunshots and the burning down of some local government secretariat complexes in the state. Meanwhile, the newly deployed Commissioner of Police to the state, Bala Mustafa, who assumed office on Tuesday, assured the residents of Rivers State of peace and security, even as he pledged to swiftly restore calm in the local government areas where incidents of violence and arson have occurred.
We are proactively taking action, square those places, and in place security measures to safeguard life and property of Rivers State, as well as those councils.
At the Port Harcourt City AGA, some youths were on the ground alongside some security agencies, believed to be there to secure the secretariat and its facilities.
And this day too, as you can see, we woke up with a surprising visit with gunshots. Some persons came thinking we are off guard, but we stood guard to make sure that this council is steadfast and resolute. We made sure we chased them away. Our security persons, the civil defense and the police, took charge to make sure that we chased the men. They came with 2 vehicles.
Actually, we could not identify them, but at least the state government and the good people of Rivers State know who their actual sponsors is or are. Is one man that is sponsoring them in Rivers State. And in our local government here, they are being sponsored by some persons through the one man. And his name is no other than the FCT Minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria.
At Ikwere AGA Secretariat, a truck of the Nigerian police is stationed at the gate, while supporters of the governor occupied the premises. New Central News crew were, however, conducted round the Bonds offices and legislative chambers.
Things are avoidable because, come to think of it, whose money will be used to rebuild this? Is it individuals that will contribute? They won't contribute money. When the monthly allocation comes, they will take money from there and rebuild this place and repair all the damage that had taken place. That money would have been utilized to solve 1 or 2 problems for the people. You and I know how tough it has been for Nigerians today. And yet, instead of going forward, we are swimming backward like a crab.
And as the women, they are gathering me here. Yes. Every one of them who did this evil will remain in their house, one after the other. In Jesus' name, amen.
Sincerely, nobody is happy. Everybody is a casualty because even if nobody died, but the Kwere people, they are casualties. And that is why you see we have come out in our numbers to come down here. We have decided to live here. We'll sleep here, we'll cook here, we'll eat here. We'll not go away from here till normalcy is restored. Because we don't want the hoodlums to come back here again and cut away the remaining things.
These people you are seeing here have pledged not to leave this facility until their demands are met, which includes restoring normalcy to this particular facility you are seeing here. But how soon is soon that peace will return to this area? Days ahead will tell. In Ikwere local government area of Rivers State, I'm Austin Azu.
And now joining us live on the show is Austin Azu. He is our News Central correspondent covering the events in Rivers State. Austin, thank you so much for joining us. Also joining us is Mr. Sonny Nwokekoro. He's the chairman All People's Party, APP. Gentlemen, thank you once again for joining us this morning, and good morning to you.
Thank you.
Great.
Good morning.
Let's get started with you, Austin. You brought us that report. First of all, I'd like you to tell us the events that led up to the arson attack and also the occupation of the youth at the Secretariat, what it was like before the arson and currently.
Yes, of course, it's no longer news that the election of the local government chairman and councillor, erupted some controversy, perceived to be like that from the, the pro-FCT minister, who believe that they don't want the government to, to conduct the local government election. Of course, we have divisions lead up to the election, and of course, even few hours, less than 2 days and 3 days, we saw the attempted eviction at the RISEC office that related into the governor visiting the area, and of course, the other security agencies have to match that particular area. Don't forget that the police withdrew their services midway to the local government election, so it became very difficult for security to be guaranteed for the election. But on Saturday, which like a week from today, it was a smooth sail. There was no security glitches. The election was peaceful, and people came out to vote just like a normal election. But somehow, it was poor turnout as usual. The governor did not vote, and including big political stakeholders in precisely that from the PDP and APC. Of course, we knew required that they pulled out from the exile. So this big political weight did not participate in the election. We are not in their polling unit. So after the election, on Monday of it that on Sunday the governor sworn the council chairman elected into offices, and on Monday of it assumed that they ought to go back to their LGAs resumed. And there was an alert that the governor raised about insecurity challenges, agents he has gotten that these chairmen who are going back to their various agencies have gotten an report that they will be attacked. So obviously, some of them took that of their LGAs and vis-a-vis others, just kind of, say like normal palace and nothing happened. So, but on Monday of it, the disturbing situation came from Brazil, Moha, and others. And it was quite disturbing when we started seeing the footage of those secretariats that were set up late, particularly that of the Query local government area and few pockets of others. For me, surprisingly, we are at the local government area where the swearing in of the councillors were taking place at the Hallowed Chamber after the swearing in and the oath taken by the councillors. And we just finished interviewing the chairman. We had a sporadic gunshot outside the gates, on a rapid spray, and it was just like fire for fire. So we have to take cover, we have to run for safety on that very day on Monday of it. So it was like never, imagined. And that was how the whole issue started. But however, on day 2 of it, we decided to run to see how far the place has looked like, if the secretariat is still under lock and key, or the police are already there, or vis-a-vis, just to know the situation of things. And we went to the Port Harcourt City LGA and interviewed the young man we interviewed and the other young man, which they told us what happened early hours of it on Tuesday of it. That happens to be day 2. And the first is necessary for them to protect their own secretariat, because they believe that if they don't protect it, hoodlums, suspected hoodlums, and outsiders who don't mean well for the state will take advantage of that loophole, and they will destroy the facility they have on ground.
And Austin, we actually saw videos of the occupants of the secretariats there, and they felt very, very comfortable. But Julius got a question for Mr. Okeriko.
Mr. Nwoke Koro, I must ask you, first of all, is congratulations in order for all the 22 winners from the last local government elections. Now, a lot has been happening in the state just after from the fallout, you're most welcome, from the fallout of the elections. So I must ask where APP, where, all People's Party stand in all of this.
Thank you very much, and thank you for the opportunity of these interaction with you and with your station. It helps us to probably put a lot of misgivings as dished out there in their right perspective. First, RISEC is a constitutionally empowered organ to conduct local government elections. RISEC before now came out with timetable, time enough within the frame, within the constitutionally framed time for them to do so. Parties were all noticed for the election and preparation started. Okay, and the D-Day came, we did our election. Despite a lot of people who were not comfortable with the election, reasons best known. We are shopping from one court of law to another to obtain an injunction to the election. That act alone negates the Constitution of Nigeria that says no law court is empowered to stop any election. If you agree with the outcome of the election, the best you could do is to approach the court to seek redress. Unfortunately, these are people who feel that except things go their way, nothing else should matter. The election came, we went out there, we campaigned vigorously, reached out to the electorates, and sold our party to them. And by the special grace of God, they bought our party and voted for us massively. Like you say, we got 22 local governments of Rivers State out of 23, and we got 314 councillors out of 319 councillors in the state. So by special grace of God, we're the new thing.
Right.
Those who say they have court injunction, federal high court injunction to stop the election, apparently from their attitude and what they display, show that they don't even have confidence in the judgment they have. Because on the day of election, despite the governor saying there was restriction of movement to allow voters go there and vote freely, they were all on the street demonstrating. For what? I do not know. After they did not succeed in stopping the election went on successfully, peacefully. And on the Sunday of it, those elected council chairmen were also won, only for them to want to assume office on Monday. And we have this issue of secretary burning at Ikwere local government, Emoha local government, and Eleme local government. But unfortunately for them, the will of the people was so strong, and they couldn't extend beyond that.
Mr. Nwoke Koro, I have to ask you about the allegations. It's been along the corridors of power. Both opposition, whether PDP or APC of Rivers State, have said that APP is an offshoot of pro-Fubara supporters, and that APP had no leverage or any standing in the state in terms of popularity to garner so much popularity to get a lot of votes to be able to win not 1, not 2, not 10, but 22 local government areas. What would be your response to those allegations or to those statements?
Those who are saying that they are just being very, very economical with this. In 1998, I was a foundation member of PDP, and PDP was nowhere, was non-existent. I went out there and made PDP what it takes today. So when you talk about party, the thinking of Nigerians when it comes to party. As far as Nigerians are concerned, there is no ideological difference between or amongst the political parties. For them, it's just a platform. Okay? And then when the people are angry or they are dissatisfied with a particular system, they move to the next available platform. So my party provided platform. What I did for PDP in 1998, 1999, I did it again for AP. I did it again for AP. And those who are accusing us of this, go ask them. Go ask them what happened. As the time we started PDP in 1998, most of them were still in school. Most of them were nothing. But we built PDP to the point that PDP cleared all the elections. Go and check your records. So what makes them think that that will be different now? Because people are dissatisfied with them. They have used the people to the point that the people have come to the point of realization and consciousness and said, enough is enough. We've just started.
Mr.
What the people want was a situation where they could freely, even if there is hunger in the land, let them at least have breath of fresh air. A situation where you're so sandwiched, where you're so reduced to even less than a slave in this your own state.
Mr. Nwokekoro, real quick, I would like to know, this must impact the people of Rivers State somehow, whether you like it or not. With a PDP governor, an APC state assembly, and now an APP predominant LG, where will peace come from? Are the courts equipped to actually help Rivers State find peace? Because now we have the court coming with this order or that order. Where will peace come from so the people of Rivers State can finally breathe?
You see, before the existence of political parties, Rivers State has been in existence. After these political parties, Rivers State will be in existence. We've gotten to the point of realization that we will not allow the activities of political parties or the differences that exist between political parties or one person's will dominating the will of Rivers State. So when you ask of where would this come from, it's Rivers people that have to decide that enough is enough, we want peace. And it's usually it doesn't come easy, because those who have a pattern of life that they feel that every other person should be a slave to them will not accept it, they will fight it. But what is counting for Rivers people is their resolve to have peace, their resolve to move on. So talking about court, I do not have. I don't think I have the power to decide for the judiciary what to do. You and I know, everybody knows what the judiciary is doing next. I thought that I expect more from the judiciary, knowing that of all the organs of government, they are the organ that have been in existence since independence. Executive have been thrown out and thrown in again. Judiciary has been, legislature has been thrown out and thrown in again. But judiciary has been in existence all this while. So we expect a lot. We expect a lot from them to sustain our democracy. But sorry to say, what is happening recently is really happening. It's really sad.
Mr. Nwokekoro, before I
so they have to play. They also have to play a role. We have to.
Before I let
all parties have to play a role in order to bring lasting peace.
Right. Now, before I let you go, speaking of lasting peace and solution, now we must speak about. You talked about power recently, as saying that just the judiciary has the power, none of this, nobody has the power. But there's something that we're not addressing in the room, an elephant, and that's the federal might. And those fingers are pointed to one person, and that is the Minister of the FCT. With the APP coming into this battle or this internal crisis between Fubara and Siminalayi Fubara and Nyesom Wike, how do APP intend to swim or thrive in this very hostile political crisis that we've seen in the last months?
The last election of October 5th have shown you how we have planned to navigate it. And more is going to come. We have 27 assembly seats that you see hanging, and it's a constitutional matter that when you defect, you lose your position. Unfortunately, we are playing games with it. With this share. People are just buying. So when that issue is clear, APP is going out again, and we're going to win the 27 available seats. Okay. And the election, the Rivers State goes beyond any individual, like I've said. It goes beyond any individual. With federal might, we have seen people with federal might that could not subdue the will of the people. In the past, we have seen people with federal might that could not subdue the will of the people. Don't forget, Rotimi Amechi, the former minister and former governor, was Minister for Transport under Buhari's administration. He came with federal might 2019, and we resisted it. That was what brought back Governor Nyesom Wike as governor. He knows it. And again, constitutionally, talking about party constitution, when a governor is PDP constitution that I was one of those who come says that at the local government level, when a council chairman emerges, the council chairman becomes the leader of the party at that level. It goes on to state level to say, when a state governor emerges from the party, the state governor becomes the leader of the party. As much as when the president emerges from the party, the president becomes the leader of the party at the national level. So what is changing now? Why won't the governor of Rivers State be allowed to be the leader of his party? Why? What is there? What's the need? Can somebody tell us what the problem is? So you deceive us where the problem is coming from. And Rivers people are resolved. Anybody who is accusing Fubara of belonging to my party, I said it time with that number. In my register that I have, Sinalai Joseph Fubara's name is not there. He has never told me he's a member of my party. As a matter of fact, when my party came on board, strongly in Rivers State, national BOT members of PDP was frightened by what they were hearing in Rivers State concerning it. And they came to Rivers State to visit the governor. And governor told everybody, to anybody's hearing, that he is still a member of PDP. Till tomorrow he's a member of PDP. Even though I wish, even though it's my desire,
now we hear
even
you.
though it's my wish and the wish of every person, that at the end of this crisis in PDP, that they don't have power to resolve. They seem not to have idea of how to resolve it. That Governor Fubara will join my party.
All right,
anybody accusing him, well, it's obviously that person's business.
We're almost rounding up, and I want to pass a question to Austin Azu, who's still with us, our correspondent. Austin, now you're the person who's on ground, who's actually having contact with the people, especially the people who are occupying these secretariats. And I'm scared to ask this next question. With what you've seen, come next week or even come today, what could we expect to see from the occupation and the different factions that have arisen from the wahala that is Rivers State? And be honest, please.
All right. If I must be very honest, I would tell you for free that the Paul Fubara supporters are resolute in ensuring that they're able to protect the secretariat, because quite well that they are not the one in power, so they will not negotiate the power that they have gotten from the grassroots to trade it with any other person. So for me, I think they will stave their neck to ensure they're able to protect the secretariat from any invaders who intend to invade the secretariat.
Well, okay then. Thank you very much.
Can I add a word to what
Very
Zelsi
quickly,
said?
please. Very quickly, please.
First, Commissioner of Police did not bow the elected people from entering the councils. As a matter of fact, he even paid solidarity visit to them. And the elected councillors, since after that episode of council chairman, since after the episode of Monday, they have all assumed their office. Even the one in Obiako, they have assumed office. Everywhere where there was a fire incident, they have assumed office. Equally where there is fire incident, they have assumed office. As a matter of fact, on daily basis, I talk with them. And they have all inaugurated their legislative council. The councillors have all inaugurated them. Leadership of the councillorship forum as the mind.
Right,
so
then.
nobody is stopping anybody from entering anywhere.
All right then.
That is the resolve of the people. As of today, tell Austin, please, your Rivers State, go back again and cross-check. All the council chairmen have resumed duties and they are working.
All right. Mr. Okekoro, Austin Azu, I want to say thank you very much for joining us for our big report this morning. And of course, this conversation continues as we're going to have another panel discuss the Rivers State crisis when we get back. But thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Now, do stay tuned because we're going to shift into our big story, which is still on the Rivers State crisis when we return.
And you're welcome back. We're talking lasting solutions to the Rivers political crisis. What could be the lasting solution when it comes to Rivers State? Now, as we know, we want to, it's been one thing after the other since the election started, or since the aftermath of the elections, that's the local government elections. And we're going to be focusing on the political crisis continuing in Rivers State, escalating to a dramatic new level with the Supreme Court's recent nullification of the state's 2024 budget. Now, this ruling comes as a significant blow to Governor Siminalayi Fubara's administration, which has been marred by ongoing disputes, including the deep-rooted conflict between pro-Fubara and pro-Wike factions. Now, the ruling cast doubt on this ruling by the Supreme Court. It cast doubt, I beg your pardon, on the future of governance in the state, which has seen an increase in political instability, violent protests, and divisions that seem far from resolution. So the question is, what will be the resolution then? Now, this budget nullification follows a series of contentious events, including last week's local government elections, which were overshadowed by allegations of irregularities and boycotts. Now, tensions have flared, culminating in arson attacks on government buildings and the occupation of local government secretariats by Fubara supporters who have, vowed not to leave until their demands are met, with increasing acts of arson and violence and the police force struggling to maintain control. Rivers State faces a challenging period ahead, and the question on everyone's mind is, where do we go from here, and how can stability be returned or restored in the state? We're going to be discussing this in the course of this program. We have two guests joining us, the chairman for the APC in Rivers State, as well as the Honorable Commissioner for Environment for Rivers State. We're going to get into that, but first, Mazino is on standby to bring you the headline news.
Welcome, and it's time for the headlines. My name is Mazino Appeal. Let's begin with the leadership crisis in the PDP. Nigeria's opposition People's Democratic Party has dismissed reports making the rounds that its treasurer, Yayari Mohammed, has been appointed to replace its suspended national chairman, Umar Damagun. The party's newly appointed acting national publicity secretary made this known to newsmen at the party's national secretariat in Abuja, saying that only the National Working Committee of the party can make such pronouncement. Now, News Central's Emmanuel Bagudu reports.
They are found to be innocent.
The crisis in the People's Democratic Party has sure taken a turn for the worse following the suspension of the acting national chairman, Umar Damagun. As deputies, members of the National Executive Council replaced their superiors, their first press conference was to intimate citizens on events playing out in the party in a bid to set the record straight.
I would want us to have a working relationship, a very cordial one, like you have had with my predecessor. He is not gone yet, he's only on suspension. Like Ms. Chinwe said, within the period of 2 weeks within which he would have interfaced with the committee chaired by His Excellency Taufik Arapaja, he would have exonerated himself of the allegations leveled against him. It was said to be insubordination and disloyalty. Whatever that means, it will be cleared better in the days ahead as the committee meets with them. But I am here to report on duty, nature abhors vacuum. My humble self and my colleague seated right by my side have resumed in that capacity. I know you will agree with us that it's not important to give a day out. We are expected to resume almost immediately in line with the provision of the law and the directive of the National Working Committee.
The acting spokesman denied the party's involvement in the appointment of the new acting national chairman as replacement for the suspended chairman, Damagun. He provided details of what led to the suspension of the party's executives, saying the crisis in the party, unfortunately, is heating up the nation's polity.
I am sure you are guided by ethics of professional conduct and the rule of engagement. Nobody will just wake up from the wrong side of their bed to begin to churn narrative and then expect the enlightened members of the society to take it hook, line, and sinker. We are guided by rules of engagement. When Ms. Chinwe was making the background presentation, she did say at its 593rd session, the NWC sat in a formal quorum and gave the decision yesterday, suspending the duo. Now, I wouldn't know at what sitting, with what quorum, what number, who are the dignitaries that would have come with that kind of narrative. What I would have expected from members of the pen, given your revered standing in the society, is not to even entertain that kind of argument coming from people that have decided to go against decorum rule of engagement, and decency.
The acting legal advisor of the party provided details of the legal implications of the current crisis in the party.
The deputy national chairman North is from the North. That's the current acting chairman, Damagu. So when the national chairman vacated office, so by the provisions of the constitution, he now assumed office as an acting chairman. And you cannot remove him. Like when people go and make statements, he has to act until either you elect a new chairman by a convention. You know the provision of the law. You have to elect a new chairman who now assume office for him to now vacate that office. It has not been done. So people will now go and say Damagu must leave office. He has to be removed from the office. It's not the way, because we are not in a lawless society.
The PDP says that it will respect the recent court decision which mandates Damagun to be replaced by a valid convention. In Abuja for News Central, I am Emmanuel Bagudu.
In the meantime, the All Progressives Congress has suspended the Minister of State Petroleum Resources. And that's none other than Heineken Lukbubiri and the party's 2019 governorship candidate in Bayelsa State, David Leon, for alleged anti-party activities. The suspension extends to the State Commissioner for Power, Karim Kumuko, Commissioner for Lands and Survey, Perez Biawari, former APC State Chairman Jothan Amos, and ex-official member of the National Executive Council, God Bless Diriwari, and Southern Ijo APC Youth Leader Sabi Morgan. The party stakeholders and APC chairman Ward 3 Southern Ijo Omiebi Fuebi, including all ward executive members, as well as the APC Ward 4 Southern Ijo Claudius Odobu, and all the ward executive members were all suspended by the party. Now, President Bola Tinubu has left the United Kingdom for Paris, France, where he is set to attend a significant engagement. Now, this was confirmed on Friday by his senior special assistant on political and other matters, Ibrahim Kabir Masari, via his verified X handle. Masari revealed that he had the privilege of meeting with President Tinubu at his private residence in the UK, where they held productive discussions before the president departed for Paris. While the details of the engagement were not disclosed, it is believed to be part of President Tinubu's broader strategy to maximize the country's international partnerships. The president had earlier left Nigeria on Wednesday, October 2nd, for a 2-week work vacation in the UK as part of his annual leave. Now, President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima on Friday consoled the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigeria National Petroleum Company Limited, Malik Kyari, over the death of his daughter Fatima Kyari. It was gathered that Kyari's daughter Fatima died on Friday at the age of 25 after a protracted illness. The duo, in their separate messages on Friday, condoled with Kyari, who has been leading the NNPC Limited since 2019. A statement conveying Tinubu's condolence by his Special Advisor Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said that the president prayed for the repose of the soul of Fatima and urges the Kyari family to stay strong. And the news continues in West Africa, where Senegal's top constitutional body has cleared Prime Minister Ousmane Sonko to run in the upcoming parliamentary elections. Rejecting an appeal by an opposition coalition that sought to block his candidacy, the Tako Walu Senegal coalition, led by former President Macky Sall, argued that Sonko was illegible, or rather ineligible, to run due to his June 2023 conviction in absentia, which sentenced him to 2 years in prison for corrupting youth. However, in a decision released late on Thursday, the Constitutional Council dismissed the appeal as inadmissible. Senegal will head to the polls on November 17 to elect the new parliament, following President Bassirou Diomaye Faye's decision to dissolve the opposition-led National Assembly in September.
Andrew, welcome back. It's time for our big story. This time, we want to find lasting solution to the crisis or the political crisis in Rivers State. Just after the local government elections, it's been marred with protest, arson, and disputes. And the question now is, what exactly will be a lasting solution? What will be a final resolution to the issues and the ongoing clashes in Rivers State? And so to help us unpack these issues and explore potential solutions, we're joined by Mr. Emeka Bekay. He's the APC chairman, Rivers State, and also joining us is Honorable Tambari Gabra, I beg your pardon. He's the Commissioner for Environment, Rivers State. Gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. Honorable, I must say thank you so much for being patient and being so kind and joining us this morning. We appreciate you for doing this with us.
Now, Honorable, would like to begin with you and would like to ask, as the Commissioner for Environment and the arson attacks on 3 local government areas, we're wondering what the government's response is to these attacks.
Well, in the first place, let me excuse my sister. My name is Tambari Bara. G-B-A-R-O, yes.
Thank you very much, sir.
Apologies, sir. Thank you, sir.
It's okay. Well, it's quite unfortunate. It's quite unfortunate that at this time, we are seeing, the activities, what I would term archaic activities, because these are things we imagine happened several years ago in our politics, and haven't gone to this level, and time. We expect that, politics should be played with decorum, no matter the level of provocation, no matter whatever, the situation is. It's a very trying period for us in Rivers State here, and very unfortunate that we see people, publicly vandalizing public properties, maiming and killing their brothers, in the name of politics for no provocation, no justifiable reason. It's quite unfortunate, and we feel sad that such is happening, at this time in our state, because for any action, we expect that, there should be a justifiable reason, for such action. But as far as I'm concerned, as far as we know here in Rivers State, the actions we saw over the weekend was not justifiable at all. For whatever it is, it was not justifiable at all. The process of the election is a democratic process known by law, enshrined in our constitution that local government elections should be conducted by the state's electoral body, which is the RISEC, and that is not particular about Rivers State alone. That cuts across the entire states. Every other states too, in line with in trying to meet up with the Supreme Court judgment, illegalizing caretaker committees and ensuring that every local government, that is the third tier of governance, is those who will man there should be democratically elected chairman. And so I think the process of what was going on in Rivers State, just as it was going on in every other state, is a constitutional program of activity to usher in a democratically elected chairman and councillors to represent their wards and to man the third tier of governance in Rivers State.
Right.
Nothing different happened in Rivers State other than the way it happened in every other state, like we know in Rivers State, that will cause such outbursts.
But the opposition, and even your party as well, the PDP plus the APC, have cited the court ruling by Justice Lifo during the election, saying that ruling also holds. And so with all the conflicting orders going on, don't you think that that needs to be addressed as well in terms of all that happened during the time of the elections?
Well, you know how it is. In every electoral process or whatever that is going on, we'll see, lots of barrage of orders, court orders, injunctions, judgments, and all that. I'm not a lawyer, but you and I know that for every constituted, a constitutionally constituted body to conduct an election, as long as the process has kick-started, no court order or no judgment will stop it. That process that has started must continue and come to an end. Anybody who feels otherwise in the process, does not feel comfortable with the way the process, went on or whatever happened, has the right of seeking redress in the courts of competent jurisdiction. We all know that. So those who are trying to bring up the narrative or argument that there was a court order stopping, after all, they were equally court judgment and orders that mandated the RISEC to carry out the election. So it's a two-way thing, but give or take, in whichever way it is, we all know that any democratically constituted body like the RISEC that is charged with the responsibility of conducting the local government election had kickstarted their process, brought out their timetable at time when due, did all the required processes as it were. No court judgment, no court order will stop it. It will come to the conclusion of that procedure or that process, so that those who feel aggrieved, who are not comfortable with the process, can seek redress, in the courts, and the court can look at it justifiably, legally, and take their decision. For me, I'm a member of PDP. Our political party didn't participate in the election, but we are Rivers people, and the interests of Rivers State must come paramount, above any other interests. And that's our position.
I'm so glad you're bringing your party, PDP, because I understand that you're the former spokesperson for the party, that's the People's Democratic Party for Rivers State. And so it begs to ask the question, where is PDP in all of the ongoing, the fallout from the aftermath of the elections, from the arson to the protests to the disputes that is ongoing? Where is the place of PDP? What have been their stance so far?
Well, it is embarrassing. The actions already is embarrassing. It's an embarrassment on PDP in Rivers State. It has an embarrassment to Rivers people, that certain persons who we look up to as leaders, will form a conglomerate of those I would call political nuisance in the state, staging unnecessary demonstrations, leading to the arson we are seeing and loss of life. Every leader's role in every society is to bring the people together, ensure that there is peace and harmony among the people. And no leader, as long as you're a leader and you join a bandwagon of those who are perpetrating violence, chaos in a society, then you are no longer fit to be mentioned or be seen as a leader. You understand? So that's the position of some of us who are young people that are, observing the turnout of events, from our angle. We are embarrassed that this is happening, in Rivers State, and the certain leaders are the ones who are encouraging such action.
Honorable Barra, thank you very much for making a note there about young people actually taking the charge. But let's talk about the nullification of the budget by the court. Now, the budget as put forward by Stephen Fubara has been nullified. He'd have to go back to a predominantly, well, not a predominant, an APC National Assembly to actually ratify it, and then it has to be executed by an APP local government. Under your commission as the Commissioner for Environment, now I'm wondering how this is going to affect this process now that we've gotten into. How it's going to affect the Commission's execution when it comes to projects or when it comes to policies? Yes, Honorable Barra.
Yeah, well, the truth of the matter is this. The truth of the matter is this. We know where this whole impasse, political impasse, started from before we got to the point where we are. I might take us back a little bit to October 30th. When the state was greeted with play as at that time, who tried to impeach the governor.
Seem to be having issues there with some groups.
Yeah,
Yes, go ahead, sir. We lost you for a second, please.
Yes.
Yes, we
so
can.
who tried to impeach the governor, and in the process, Rivers youths came out vehemently to kick against that. And this court's judgment is one of those, court judgments. One of the cases that were in court before the presidential proclamation, which the president dutifully advised both parties to go and withdraw, such cases. The Fubara faction actually went ahead to withdraw their defense in this particular case that we are talking about. How it went ahead to the point where it is now in the appeal, well, that is left for the lawyers and the judiciary to answer. Well, there is still a step to the Supreme Court, which we are waiting for. Is that a subject of litigation? So we don't want to preempt the courts. We will allow them to look at the merits of the case and make their pronouncements. And I think from there, we will know how to take it up. But for now, we are quite positive. We are quite positive and commitment in the advancement of the cause of Rivers State, and that we will continue to do.
All right. Honorable Tambari, Bara, thank you very much for joining us today, and of course for giving us your expert opinion on the issue in Rivers State. Thank you. To our viewers now, do stay tuned because we've got more conversation coming your way, and you'll find out only here on News Central. This is Breakfast Extra. We'll be back. Welcome back, and in time for our second big story this morning, as we turn to the soaring fuel prices across Nigeria, which, well, have once again resurfaced. It's costing 1,000 naira now. It's past that mark even in some cities like Abuja and even in some places in Lagos. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, the NNPC, has officially ended the exclusive contract with Dangote Refinery, leading to a rapid surge in fuel price. Now in Abuja, fuel is now selling for as high as 1,030 naira per litre, while in Lagos, prices are hovering around 998 naira per litre. You could as well just pay 1,000 naira. Now, this latest price increase comes on the heels of the complete removal of fuel subsidy. We asked for it, we have it. It's an issue that has sparked intense debate and public discontent across the country. The termination of the NNPC exclusive agreement with the Dangote Refinery is likely to have widespread implications on the energy sector and Nigeria's economic landscape. The deal's dissolution, initially hailed as a strategy to stabilize the market, well, has resulted in further instability as fuel prices continue to rise. And many Nigerians are now left wondering how this new era of free market competition will affect their daily lives and businesses, particularly as inflation and cost of living increase alongside these rising fuel prices.
And so to help us navigate these critical developments, we're joined by Ukadike Chinedu. He's the spokesperson and the publicity secretary there for the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, IPMAN. And also joining us is a development economist, Nnemeka Obianrieri. He is joining us here in the studio, gentlemen. Thank you both for joining us. Ukadike, again, he joins us via video chat. Thank you once again. But let's start here in the studio, sir. I must say welcome and very good morning to you.
Thank you very much.
Another price hike. We didn't think that we would come here at this point, at this juncture, so soon. So soon. And again, it happened overnight. People just woke up one morning, they went to the filling station, and the price had gone up from 800 and something to 988. Now it's 1,050 naira. And so I have to ask you, first of all, what is your own take on this whole matter where Nigerians find themselves?
I actually bought at 1,500 on Friday at 11 PLC filling station at Woloworo, to be precise. I'm at the Beloway, Victoria Island. And
1,500?
Yes, 152 liters, 78,000 naira. I have the receipt. Basically, what has happened is that the NNPC has removed themselves as the middleman and the sole trader. Dangote Refinery is a private business concern. We must note that Dangote is not a Red Cross or Red Crescent. And despite the fact that we had a structured arrangement wherein we sell crude oil to him in naira, that naira is also benchmarked on certain indicators. It wasn't just done out of maybe just, okay, let us give him a social rate. There is the outdash rate, which continually rules the exchange rate at which it was exchanged, and that's it's about 168 naira to 168 naira to $1. So basically, the petroleum product is a commodity that fluctuates on a daily basis, and this is something Nigerians must realize. If we want to buy petroleum products at average of 600, 500, 600 naira per liter, per liter, that is the gasoline, irrespective of what happens in the international market, we know what to do. Special structured purpose arrangement for it. That is a discussion for another day. But based on current market realities, as of today, a gallon of the gasoline, which is the PMS, pure motor spirit, is selling for $2.16. And even if you use the R-dash rate, being maybe the exchange at which they sold crude to him to compute it, the FOB price is at 957 naira per liter. And it fluctuates. It can go up, it can go down. Basically, what NNPC have simply done is remove ourselves from the picture, let there be interplay of demand and supply.
So it's now a free market.
Yes, because if you go to the southeast now, it's selling for 8,100 per liter. If you come to Lagos, even different things, you have different prices.
Yes.
If you go to Abuja, it's different thing. If you go to Borno, so it's actually how the market should be in the real sense of it.
Right.
Basically, for Nigerians who have always bid, we want to buy petroleum products in Libya, it is at this price. In Saudi Arabia, it's at this price. We must also contextualize it. There are dynamics, structures that can make it work here. But trying to say, okay, Dangote refinery has come on stream, price of petroleum product will crash, does not cut it. If we want the price of petroleum product to crash, we have 3 refineries that are owned by the NNPC. All we just need to do is put them in a bucket, unbundle them, sell 80% to a private sector investor. That is 30%, 50% to Nigerians, list on the floor of the Nigerian Stock Exchange, NNPC will take 20%, and then have a structured arrangement where we allocate marginal fuels for them to go and develop. Cost of crude production is about $31 per barrel. Cost of refining crude, amortized over time, is $10 per barrel, which is $41 per barrel. Now, allow them to do 30% margin. Refineries are not a huge margin industry. 30% will bring it to $53.33 per liter. So if you convert it to naira, you can actually and then add the margins, the cost margins from depot owners place their margin to filling station to truckers and haulagers, which is about 24%. It will come to about 550 to 650 naira per liter anywhere in Nigeria. Whether the global market is going up or is coming down, we will have a special arrangement like they have in Libya, like they have in Saudi Arabia. But as long as we are trying to hook all our expectations on a private concern, a man that borrowed $10 billion outside his equity investment, $10 billion, come on.
And he has to make profits. It's a business.
Even make profit. The man has over the next 5 years to pay down his loan obligations.
Yes.
Mr. Nameka, let's recognize Mr. Okadike, who's joining us now. Mr. Okadike Chinedu, thank you very much for joining us. I spoke to you during the week, and when I spoke to you, I left with a sense of, optimism, let me put it that way, when we're talking about the willing buyer, willing seller situation. However, what you told me during the week is the complete opposite of what we have seen now. In less than a day after we spoke, fuel went to, wow. What exactly is happening? What are we missing here? What's going wrong? Are we going to see fuel come down lesser than perhaps maybe like Mr. Nameka has just said, somewhere around 600 naira ever in Nigeria? Mr. Okadike, you want to check if your phone might be on mute.
No, the speaker is on.
Thank you very much. I can hear you now. Go ahead.
The speaker is on. The speaker is on.
Please go ahead.
Go ahead.
So can you hear me now?
Yes.
Loud and clear.
Okay, very good. So it wasn't an opposite, actually. It was the realism of the market. And you also believe that we have been enjoying subsidy. At a point, the federal government made a statement that they have removed subsidy. And when they now see the galloping inflection in the economy and the way things are going, they decided to do what we call passive subsidy. Trying to bring in subsidy indirectly to ensure that this implementation of this PIA does not have a very strong and direct effect on the masses. My discussion with you is, why was Dangote not selling petroleum products to independent marketers? And I also appealed to Dangote because we have written several letters, we have congratulated him, we have visited his facility, we have discussed with him. We are now willing buyers and looking for a willing seller relationship. And I also told you that if Dangote could sell directly to independent marketers, that will ensure that we will sell lower than any other competitor in this market. Before we were pounded into the NNPC portal, and NNPC becomes the only source of giving us petroleum products. No other person was giving us petroleum products. The ones we normally get is from DAPMA members and former members. When they have saturated their filling stations, whatever is the remnant, if they like, they will sell to us. If they don't like, at any price, given price. And we independent marketers, like my brother was just from Adami pointed out, we had a huge investment in our filling stations and also trying to upgrade our filling station to serve you better. So we must also have return on investment. No matter how little, we cannot just fold our arms and keep on praying that Dangote will remember us one day. It is through this media and print media, and also trying to see how we can be able to reach to prominent individuals and even members of the House of Rep who graciously move this motion on the floor of the House that Dangote should sell petroleum market, sell PMS to independent marketers so that we can be part of the competition. The deregulation is about competition. You cannot use a competitor to decide what another competitor should sell at any given time.
Mr. Okadike.
NNPC have their filling stations here and there. We independent marketers will possess 90% of the filling stations in this country. I wonder what is wrong with Dangote to sell petroleum products to independent marketers directly.
Mr. Okadike, from what we understand, the exclusive contract between NNPCL and the Dangote refinery has ended. It's now been terminated. So they said that independent marketers can approach Dangote and buy from Dangote. So are you saying that the refinery isn't selling at all, or this is just lip service?
No, they have not sold to us. Yesterday, there was an intervention by the director of DSS, Mr. Ajola, who invited the National Executive Council members of independent marketers to his office. And we were able to align all our challenges and also reiterate that Dangote have not sold 1 liter of PMS to independent marketers. And he immediately swung into action. He called the MD of PPMC. He also called the Dangote management and called the NMDPR, the authority chief. And within some period of time, I also want to announce to all of you that within some period of time, the man was able to resolve all these problems. If Dangote could sell ATO to us and offer us to buy in bulk and not the rest of them, why wouldn't he sell PMS? Why is he like dragging not selling PMS to us? The director of DSS yesterday graciously resolved some of these matters, and I also believe by this coming week, we independent marketer will take our first shot on the product of Dangote,
so Mr.
especially PMS.
Before I come back to Mr. Nnameka here inside of the studio with us, when this happens, when Dangote begins to sell PMS to independent marketers, will the price come down? Mr. Nnameka
is of the opinion that it's not possible.
Yes, the price will come down. Let me tell you why. Nnameka said he bought PMS as 1,500. Yes, it's correct. Maybe from an independent marketer or maybe from a former member. But if from an independent marketer is correct, because as independent marketers, NNPC gave us a template of 1,010 naira. And we are reliably informed that Dangote is selling this product less than 898 naira to NNPCL. So if NNPCL is selling in their own filling station 998 naira, why would they not tell independent marketers to buy from them 1,010 naira? We have not even put our transportation, we have not even put cost of money. To buy 45,000 liters of PMS now, you are spending over 50 million. And this, you have your staffs to take care of. So if somebody is taking this product very, very far to Medugri, Gafanchan, Abuluma, Puguba, and the rest of them, they have to put his transportation because there is no more PEF. So federal government is not bearing that equalization. We, the independent marketers, we are bearing it, and through our ex-pump price, we'll be able to dispense all our expenses we have made and make little profit.
All right. Let me come back into the studio and talk to Mr. Nemeka here, Obiariri. And honestly, all through Mr. Ukadike Chinedu's submission, you kept saying, no, it's not true. When he mentioned those figures from 800 to 900, you said that is not true. Why do you disagree with him?
Okay, let's break the numbers down.
Okay. Pragmatically.
It's estimated that we consume 38.5 to 45 to 50 million liters of PMS every day. It's very impossible for Dangote to sell to independent marketers using the gantry. To do that will require us dispensing 1,800, 2,000 trucks of PMS every day. From that Ibejuleke, it's going to be a traffic nightmare. In fact, everybody living within the Aja, Awaya, axis is practically dead. You see what's happening in Apapa?
Yes.
In fact, Apapa will be a nursery play,
child's play
compared to what will happen in that axis. Dangote is a refinery. Also remember that even the public sector owned refineries. There was a provision for piping, for depots from Mosimi to Aloji. There was storage depot. See, in the oil and gas sector, there are different sectors, players within that downstream. We have the refineries, because we know in the oil and gas industry, we have the upstream, we have the midstream, we have the downstream. And in the downstream, the stakeholders there are the refinery owners, those who refine the petroleum products into white petroleum products. Then we have the depot owners. That's why we have Moman, we have Dapman. And then we have the petrol filling station owners. Then we have those who haulage and truck. You can choose to play in the whole four sector, the subsector, or you can choose to play in every sector. Dangote is a mega refinery. At full capacity, Dangote will be producing over 103 million liters of byproducts, both AGO. You can't expect 103 million, almost about 5,000 trucks. It's not possible for him to do it. He doesn't even have the gantry to do it. Basically, and he has an SBM. And SBM simply means Dangote is in a free trade zone. Remember, he's not even aligned to where there is feedstock. The arrangement is Dangote sells. Dangote cannot be selling in one truck, two trucks. There are bulk purchases. If my members can do 5,000, 10,000, 20,000 metric ton, he can sell to them. But you won't expect it to be coming to gantry. You get a vessel, go there, take the, because Nigeria has about 6 regions. We have the cocoa oil axis, we have the Port Harcourt axis, we have the Uyo axis. And if we can even dredge from the Escravos all to the Niger, we can actually have storage. In fact, we even have inland storage in areas like Suleja and other places. So basically, what we should be talking about is, how do we create a seamless handshake between the refineries and the storage owners and the truckers and the independent marketers to be able for us to dispense this program products without creating logistics nightmare in the land. And then the issue of Dangote selling at 893. PMS is a commodity that is traded there in the global market. It's not fixed. You've always heard about volatility in the oil, even any commodity.
Yes.
A bag of rice today is selling for almost about 160.
So what factors could affect that international?
What can affect it? See, as long as we are relying on this market-driven arrangement, this whole Eldorado wish that this thing will just dramatically will not work. But we have a structured arrangement that can make it work. And what is that structured arrangement? There's no skyrocket sense about it. We are not inventing the wheel. In Libya, that we always cite, in Saudi Arabia, there's a special arrangement, and we can recreate it here. Currently, we have 3 refineries. The Port Harcourt has train 1 and train 2, combined refining capacity of 210,000 barrels a day. Warri is 125,000. Kaduna is out of it because we don't have the Venezuelan crude. And again, the pipelines have been compromised. So under the current arrangement, we can even collocate new refinery, 160,000 barrels a day within Port Harcourt or Warri, because there's already existing facilities at 50% less cost of installation. Now, put them in a bucket, value them. How much is this refinery? Even if it is for sale valuation, get a core investor who will own 30%, a reputable refiner, give him 30%. Sell 50% to Nigerians and list on the floor. Listen, now let me tell you how it will work. Now, Nigeria has capacity to do 2.8, 3.5 million barrels of crude every day. Crude oil is our working capital. We have OPEC quota to meet 1.78. Right. Then we can do off OPEC quota to satisfy all the refineries in Nigeria. Nobody holds us against it. Now, what do? Allocate marginal fuels to them under a special arrangement. Cost plus 30%. Refinery is a thin margin market, but you are giving them incentive to make people even lap onto it. Cost of production of crude oil, average of about $31 per barrel. Cost of refinery is about $10 per barrel. Add it is $41 per barrel. Let us even put that at 30% margin on top of it. That is about, everything costs about $53.3. If you even use the current exchange rate, the cost of pump pricing, in fact, FOB there will be about 420 naira per liter. Then if you add the cost of storage, the cost of transportation, even their own margin of Ipman, we will sell gasoline, gas oil, AGO. We will sell aviation fuel at a price that is not more than 600 naira. It will even come down because when we do this now and we stabilize FX inflow into Nigeria, Naira will gain. And as Nigeria begins to appreciate over the dollar, the prices will start coming down.
Mr. Enemeka,
yes,
this is a long-term goal.
It's not a long-term goal.
Wait, hang on. Let me finish. Let me land this question, right?
I can give you a timetable how it can be done.
Hang on. I know what you're saying, and I completely understand, and I'm sure viewers at home get it. But let's put also a reality of Nigerian government and how long it takes for us to even achieve any infrastructure. I mean, look at our railway here in Nigeria, in Lagos State. That's a completely different conversation entirely. And we have seen that the government, from their body language and from the recent tax reforms, is that they are moving towards renewable energy. And there's a lot of push on CNG, compressed natural gas, and converting cars. So do you think that this government has the willpower to be able to do that? That's my first question for you first. And then secondly, given the termination of NNPCL and Dangote Refinery, what do you say about this arrangement that Mr. Ukadike is saying that they are still not being sold a drop of fuel to them yet, in spite of the news that has been circulating that the arrangement between the two has ended?
Okay, let me take the first question. This government has the will. If it wants to, this government can easily execute. We talk about CNG here. You know, I always say it's not just enough to just mount a program or a policy. You must think through it. We are not the first person to even talk about trying to have CNG as a source of energy. Of course, CNG can only take care of low-end cars like the keke, the motorcycles, not the keke, the small buses, and then the four-cylinder engine cars. In Pakistan does not even have up to 10% of our gas reserve. We have 3,250 CNG filling stations. We have over 2.7 million cars that are run on CNG. In fact, in Pakistan, they had to roll back their CNG automobile arrangement because it was depriving them gas for industrial scaling. But in Nigeria, we don't have that problem because we have Nigeria is actually a huge gas-rich country. Over 206 trillion standard cubic feet of gas. How do we make this CNG thing work? It's not a government. No, every time we talk about federal government, all we need the federal government to do is to put in place the policy and program and allow the private sector to run it. I'll give you an example. For us to have a massive CNG rollout plan that can get us 1 million cars converted and every infrastructure in place, we need about $1 billion to do it. And how do we do it? To have gas processing plants in the gas areas like Owerri, Ohaji Egbema, Abia State, and Anambra State, where we have huge gas reserves, with about $100 million, set up CNG processing plants to convert natural gas to CNG. We need 109 modal stations in each of the 109 senatorial zones. Each modal station costs about $1.2 million to establish, being able to about 4 to 6 trucks of CNG trucks. Then we need at least 774 conversion centers in every local government area for conversion kits. Then we need also this, working with Ipman, we can collocate CNG dispensing machines in each of the Ipman affiliate stations. It takes about $200,000 to do each. If we put this in place, then that is where even financing comes in. Average Nigerian may not be able to cover 100,000 naira to convert. We cannot do an arrangement where they can convert and pay over a period of 18 months. $1.1 billion private sector driven with government providing direction in integrated manner between the federal, state, and local government area. My brother, in 6 months to 1 year, we will have these things ramped up. The problem we have in Nigeria is that there is so much focus on the federal government. There should be an interplay and integration between what's happening at Abuja, to the states and to local government. This country is a blessed country. I'm telling you the truth. All we need to do is to put in place our thinking faculties and begin to do things like. Then on the second issue of, he is saying they are not selling to them. And I tell you today, Dangote at full capacity. Dangote was not structured to begin to sell fuel at gantry. It does not make sense. There's nowhere, anywhere in the whole world where refineries sell petroleum products. Nigerians must learn this things. Dangote was built just like any refinery. You can't go to Rotterdam to go and load the refinery and use truck to carry it from Rotterdam to Nigeria. Ipman must be very realistic. If any Ipman can also come together and raise funds and partner with depot owners or buy even depots, you understand? And I also say, Dangote is not like a generator. You start it and stop it.
Nameka,
every day.
Just a second, because I need Mr. Okadike to come in here and tell us about this logistics nightmare that we've been talking about here with Mr. Nameka regarding the use of gantry to sell petrol to an entire nation like Nigeria. Do you agree that this is a logistics nightmare? Do we have the capacity to actually use trucks to service all of Nigeria?
From Dangote.
From one source in Lagos to all of Nigeria. What do you have to say about that, Mr. Okadike?
Well, I've seen Ipman, it's not the way it is. Ipman has been rebranded under a very strong and formidable leadership. And the Ipman we are talking about now, we have a full branded depot in Calabar that has been acquired by Ipman, one in Lagos and another one in Okara. So we are fully ready for this deregulation. We know what it takes to implement this deregulation, and we are fully ready. We are one of the first stakeholders that are supposed to be consulted or even engaged in terms of this deregulation. What are you talking about? 300 trucks. What will 300 trucks do to Nigerians? Is no trucks going to reach Kabanchan in the next 10 days? So the have said it all. We have pipelines. We have System 2B, we have System 2A that was designed by federal government, but those pipelines doesn't work. So now we are moving our products through vessels. And I said, if this Dangote has been backfilling AGO and has been sending AGO to Port Harcourt, has been sending AGO to, it has been loading through vessels, through data vessels. 30,000 metric tons and 20,000 metric tons. So it's a very simple. It's a very simple. If one is battle ready, we have the finance. We have the finance to be able to offset whatever Dangote is producing. So it is not an NNPC. What I'm talking about, NNPC does not even have a 1/10 filling station. Where are they going to discharge? So if man has where we are going to discharge the product, we have the tank farms. We have the tank farms. We have the market. So it is not something that somebody will come and tell us that Ipman is not ready. We are ready.
All right,
before we start asking for before we start asking for PFI from federal government, before we start asking for PFI we are ready.
Now, Mr. Okadike, is Ipman ready for the environmental effects that it's going to have on the environment? Mr. Nameka here spoke about the influence of these logistics on the areas. Now, we have Ibejuleki, and we know how bad it is already because of the population of people that are living there. What is Ipman's consideration to the environment? The example here is Apapa and how the activities in Apapa have grounded activities, commercial activities in Apapa because of the ports. Now, if this was to happen with the Dangote refinery in Ibejuleki, what is Ipman's response to the effect on the environment?
We have a strong economic team put together. That was why I said we have already acquired tank farms in Calabar. We have already acquired tank farms in Ogara. We have already acquired tank farm in Port Harcourt. We are going to take our product through daughter vessels to these places and distribute to our members. We have the trucks. So from these things I have just said that now, if man can be able to make out some little margins and be able to sell even more cheaper than an NPC. When NNPC was selling PMS 195, most of our station because of turnover, we are selling 193, 194, and we are even advertising. So liberalize the market. We don't allow us to. When you sell to NNPC will not in turn sell to us, or you sell to that man will not in turn sell to independent marketer. That is not correct. If we want to list any Tapman members filling station, we list. DAPMA members also own their filling stations. What we are suffering now is price disparity. When you go to NNPC filling station, you can buy 998 naira. You go to IPMAN member filling station, you buy 1,200 because we are buying 1,100 from the same competitors, and they are still taking this product from the same source, which is Dangote. We say get us to the source. Let us compete. Yes, you cannot be the middleman between we and Dangote. Dangote is a company.
All right.
And we are indigenous marketers. So what we are saying is that there is no need this round-tripping of carrying product to DAPMA members. DAPMA members will in turn sell to independent marketers, or they will turn sell to their colleagues, their friends, and their friends will not sell to independent marketers at their will.
All right.
What we are saying is that this price disparity should stop.
Yeah, okay.
You cannot have a DAPMA member who is selling products at 1,000 naira per liter in his filling station. And when we go to the DAPMA member to buy this product, they will sell the same product at 1,200. How do we compete?
All right. Well, Mr. Okadike, those are questions that we hope that with all the situation going on and all the unfolding events, that it would be answered in the next coming weeks. But because we're pressed for time, my final question, and I'm going to ask, starting with you, Mr. Okadike, since the calling of a deregulation of the downstream sector, they've been calling for a deregulation for a very long time. Do you think because of a late implementation of a deregulation of the system, that is what has now resulted to this mayhem and this continual price hike?
Well, the deregulation implementation, actually, the deregulation is a very good policy. But our problem is implementation. There are some certain things that are supposed to be done. That these particular refineries are supposed to be working. All these particular refineries are supposed to be in place before this regulation comes in. But Mr. President has expressed this in. Then the addition of the pipelines. Most of these pipelines, all of them are patterned. And if those pipelines are good, the issue of talking about the creation of the law will disappear. It will be a thing of the past because this product will go to Ibadan, even through pipeline. It will get to Kafanchan, even through pipeline. It will get to Kananacha, even through pipeline. Because the federal government has already been this thing. And there is a pipeline and marketing unbundled from the PIA. You understand? That's supposed to take care of these pipelines. So if the pipelines are good, this of running on the road, you can be able to take petroleum products within 200 or 250 kilometers, reducing to your filling stations.
All right. Mr. Okadike, many thanks. We appreciate you for doing this with us. We're out of time. Mr. Okadike Chinedu, he's the spokesperson for IPMAN, the Independent Marketers, Petroleum Marketers of Nigeria. And also here with us in the studio is development economist. And he has been throwing out all the numbers, and it's none other than Mr. Nnemeka Obianreri. Gentlemen, many thanks for doing this with us. We appreciate you for coming on for a very insightful discussion this morning. Once again, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
We switch gears now as we continue with Breakfast Extra. But first, let's bring you the headlines. And Mazino is bringing you all the news at the top of the hour. Stay here.
You're welcome to the headlines for the 10 o'clock hour. My name is Mazino Peel. Now, the All Progressives Congress has suspended the Minister of State, Petroleum Resources, Heineken Lokboweri, and the party's 2019 governorship candidate in Bayelsa State, David Leon, for alleged anti-party activities. The suspension extends to the State Commissioner for Power, Karim Kumoko, Commissioner for Lands and Survey, Perez Biawari, former APC State Chairman, Jothan Amos, and an ex-official member of the National Executive Council, God Bless Diriwari, and Southern Ijo APC youth leader, Sabi Morgan. Now, party stakeholder and APC chairman, Ward 3 Southern Ijo Omiebi Fuebi, including all ward executive members, as well as the APC Ward 4 Southern Ijo Claudius Odubu, and all the ward executive members were all suspended by the party. And President Bola Tinubu has left the United Kingdom for Paris, France, where he is set to attend a significant engagement. This was confirmed on Friday by his senior special assistant on political and other matters, Ibrahim Kabir Masari, via his verified X handle. Masari revealed that he had the privilege of meeting with President Tinubu at his private residence in the UK, where they held productive discussions before the president departed for Paris. While the details of the engagement were not disclosed, it is believed to be part of President Tinubu's broader strategy to maximize the country's international partnerships. The president had earlier left Nigeria on Wednesday, October 2nd, for a 2-week working vacation in the UK as part of his annual leave. And President Bola Tinubu and Vice President Kashim Shettima on Friday consoled the Group Chief Executive Officer of the Nigerian National Petroleum Company Limited, Mele Kyari, over the death of his daughter Fatima Kyari. It was gathered that Kyari's daughter Fatima died Friday at the age of 25 after a protracted illness. The duo, in their separate messages on Friday, condoled with Kyari, who had been leading the NNPC Limited since 2019. A statement conveying Tinubu's condolence by his Special Advisor Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, said that the president prayed for the repose of the soul of Fatima and urges the Kyari family to stay strong. And in more news, Guinea's military junta leader, General Mamadi Doumbouya, has banned ministers from traveling abroad without his approval and ordered all officials currently outside the country to return. The announcement was made by government spokesman Ousmane Gwal Diallo, who explained that the move is aimed at reducing public spending. Diallo stated that the measure will enhance government efficiency and ensure better management of the state's resources. The directive issued on Thursday takes immediate effect and will remain in place until the end of the year. General Doumbouya, who seized power in the coup in September 2021, initially committed to returning Guinea to civilian rule by the end of 2024. However, the junta has since indicated that it will not meet this deadline. And still, the 3-day African Monetary and Economic Sovereignty Conference concluded today in Addis Ababa, Ethiopia, with a focus on empowering the continent through economic self-determination. The event, themed Leveraging Multipolarity, Economic Options for Africa, brought together a diverse group of academics, policymakers, and thought leaders from across Africa and beyond to explore pathways to economic sovereignty. News Central's business correspondent Perpetua Fasami Peter was there and filed in this report.
Economic sovereignty, U.S. hegemony, debt restructuring, domestic resource mobilization, climate change. These words and phrases have dominated conversations in the past 2 days. But as day 3 unfolds, the focus will be shifting to de-dollarization and pan-Africanism. But can Africa achieve this? Well, let's get into the meeting and hear what they have to say.
My experience is the IFS exposed African countries to recurrent balance of payment crisis, debt crisis, which are, in my view, an inevitable outcome of the long-term deterioration of commodity terms of trade, the growth-crushing borrowing rate, and balance of payment constraint imposed by dollar funding. I once asked an IMF colleague that what would happen to Italy if instead of paying 2% on their debt, they were paying 10% or 15% like an African country. His answer was clear: Italy would default.
For Dr. Arauz, Africa must also pay attention to the global payment systems.
Payment systems are a crucial infrastructure of the global economy and, of course, national economies. But very few people know who are the players behind the global infrastructure of the payment systems. Few people know, for example, that every time you use a credit card out of the 2 major companies, a copy of every transaction is stored in data centers in the United States, that because of the USA Patriot Act, it means that U.S. government agencies, sometimes those affiliated with the military, have access to all of those transactions.
Having established that these structures jeopardize Africa's economic sovereignty, what then must the continent do?
It is important to de-link the national payment systems, the regional payment systems, the African payment systems from those hegemonic players so that there can be more sovereignty, more possibility to not only improve the economic situation of the people in Africa, but also to improve the sovereignty of the information related to the payment systems.
In essence, monetary integration has become the necessary conditions for effective sovereignty and development in Africa. It also has the potential to accelerate implementation of the AFCFTA, and will bring geopolitical power to the regions, the way the dollar has to the US.
It's been over 20 hours of non-stop debate, deliberations and conversations on how Africa can achieve economic sovereignty. This conference has featured the best minds, economists, professors, even thought leaders from Africa and around the world. However, those who are vested with the responsibility of turning these conversations into policies are not here. Well, it is my hope that when the communique gets to them, they'll do the needful. In Addis Ababa, for News Central, I am Perpetua Fasome Peter.
And that's all the headlines this hour here for the 10 o'clock hour for Breakfast Extra. Coming back inside for discussions here, do join us because we're going to be doing something very interesting inside of Wellness Central and one more topic inside of the hour. Stay tuned.
And you're welcome back. It's time for us to serve you our extra special for today. And this time we're talking about illegal migration. Now, in a concerning development, it has been revealed that several Nigerian girls who were earlier repatriated from Mali due to illegal migration and human trafficking have returned to the West African nation. Now, these girls had initially been rescued and repatriated through efforts led by the Nigerian government and NIDCOM, which is the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, which is headed by Abike Dabiri-Erewa. However, despite the interventions and opportunities provided to rebuild their lives in Nigeria, many have chosen to return to Mali, raising troubling questions about the deep-rooted issues driving these migrations and the challenges in reintegrating them into Nigerian society. Now, this development calls into question the effectiveness of repatriation and just the repatriation programs and even government interventions. Are the socio-economic pressures back home too overwhelming, or is there a fundamental failure in the rehabilitation process? Well, we examined the circumstances that led to this young women returning to Mali, the role of traffickers, and how both the government and humanitarian organizations are addressing this disturbing trend. But first, we would like to play for you a video of where we're speaking, where our correspondent, Marshall Ononeye, he was speaking to the commissioner, or rather the head of NIDCOM, that's the Nigerian Diaspora Commission. And here's what she had to say about human traffickers and illegal migration and girls who, or persons who repatriate back to Mali, who go back to Mali. Take a look.
All this what you're saying now is the fact that you have to track those agents, those traffickers. And that is why, you know, I've said it, that we have to declare a war on these people, because that is trafficking. Until you find them, arrest them, name and shame them, it's going to continue. And that is why NAPTIP needs to be supported. It has to be multi-agency collaboration. NAPTIP, immigration, NEMA, no, not NEMA, NAPTIP, immigration, Office of the NSA, security, and all that needs to be involved. Now, when Nigerians were stuck in Libya, I wrote to the president then and said we need a massive evacuation, and he agreed. He set up a team made up of Foreign Affairs, this office, NEMA, NAPTIP, security, NSA, Refugee Commission, and we all went to Libyan prison, went to the detention centers, and brought everybody back, over 10,000. Max Air, you know, flights, and they all came back. There was nobody left at that time. But guess what today? More distress calls, just like your... Exactly, just like what you're saying is happening in Vietnam. So all this thing about we're ignorant, we claim, it has to be tackled from source. But that's what it has to be a multi-agency collaboration. Even Ministry of Labor, Foreign Affairs, everybody. Because you have to stop it from here. So how do they get visas to get into those places? I mean, you're talking about Vietnam. Maybe they go by, the one of Libya, they go by road, they go by boat, some die in the desert, and they get there, they're stuck. And we're talking of a situation where it's been a war-torn country. There is no government in place as such. They're only just managing themselves. Then you add all this to it and you get locked up. So it really is a situation that needs multi-agency collaboration.
NIDCOM boss there, Abike Dabiri Erewa. Now, just to note that that was an extract from a forthcoming documentary being put together by our correspondent and investigative journalist, Marshall Ononye. If you remember, he had put one together from before about illegal migration, and the second part will be coming up here on News Central. So if you stick around, we'll be telling you exactly when it's going to launch. However, let's get back to it now, as we're being joined today to explore the complex issues is Oyiza Yakubu joining us, the Executive Director of Luna Foundation. Oyiza, good morning and welcome. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's talk about this disturbing phenomenon here, where girls who have been repatriated by the Nigerian government choose to go back to Mali, a West African country. I'm sure it's not the destination. So exactly what is or why is Mali a hotbed for these young girls? What are they running from? Where are they going?
Hi, good morning, everybody.
Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Okay, like the NIDCOM said, we need to tackle this issue from the source. You know, till now, most people don't believe human trafficking exists and people can be irregular migrated to other countries. Now, for example, these people that came back from Mali and from Libya and they returned, it's because they were not properly rehabilitated and reintegrated into the society. You know, in this our field, there's what we call the Stockholm Syndrome, where these people have been in this country for years. That is the only thing they know. These traffickers have brainwashed them. When you follow this traffickers' movement online, when you try to see what they do, the propaganda they put online, they try to make Nigeria as a country that no one can stay. Like these girls, they make them believe that there's nothing happening in Nigeria. The only place they can succeed is either Mali or Libya. That's where they can get everything they need. So when you bring them back to Nigeria, there's no structure in Nigeria to actually reintegrate them back into the society. Now, we have what we call the push factors. These are the factors pushing these girls to migrate in the first place. These are the factors pushing them to migrate in the first place. So these factors are not being handled. They are not being treated. Some people, it might be their aunts that actually push them to Mali, but when they bring them back to Nigeria, they send them back to that aunt. Definitely, they'll be re-trafficked. So you don't just bring people back home and start sending them back to what they are running away from. You have to give them a good structure to let them understand that, okay, you are back home now. These are the things to do. These are the things not to do. Some people are actually supposed to even be taken to rehabilitation centers because of their addiction to drugs, addiction to all these foreign substances, all these illegal substances. But we don't do that. Immediately they come back, after 2-3 days, we push them back into the society. The society, they don't know how to relate with. So definitely, they run back to where they know.
Okay, Oyiza, I don't want you to go too far. I need you to please put in some gaps here, fill in some gaps here. Now, they're going to Mali, so apparently you're telling that Mali is the destination. What do they do when they get to Mali? What are they looking for? What kind of jobs are they getting in Mali that can't be had here?
Okay, now, so for some people that I've spoken to that came back from Mali, Mali was actually not the destination country. Some were lured by these agents. There are a couple of agents you see online that they tell you they can get you visa to some European countries where you can work as a maid. So they tell these girls that, okay, they don't accept Nigerian passports. The Nigerian passport is not allowed to fly, that they will not give them visa if they are with Nigerian passports, that they need to come to Mali first to get Mali passports before they can process the visa. Most of the girls, that is how they actually became victims. Some, they use scholarship schemes. Like when you look at these scholarship forms they give this girl, you think it's actually real. You can check the university online, it is legit. You can check their website, they have websites. You can even place a call to the university and everything looks so legit. So these girls might think, okay, yes, they are going for scholarships. They have to go to Mali to get a visa. They have to get to Mali to get a new passport. And when they get there, they notice that it is a trap. That is actually how they move most of these girls. This is how they move them to that place. But some people actually, they live deliberately. Like, yes, they know that they are going to Mali to go and work. They know they are going to Mali to go and work. But in most cases, most of these people are being lured there.
Oyiza, you earlier on when you were talking about the problems, why they were repatriated, why they went back to Mali, you said something about the reintegration program and how it's flawed. And I'd like for you to speak on this, on what exactly the challenges are with the system. Just expatiate more. Is it that we're not doing enough? Is it that it's a lack of funding? Or is it that those who are in charge of the reintegration program do not have the right skills or understand what the girls will have to face in Nigeria when they come back?
Yes, the people in the system don't understand what these girls have passed through. I believe when it comes to reintegration, survival leaders should be allowed to handle it. Only we know what is going on. And these girls can only speak to us because they trust us. Now, from my own experience, when I came back to Nigeria, I was in another frame of mind entirely. I was depressed, I was sad, I was taking alcohol, and it was just my own determination and the support of friends that made me to recover and just stand on my 2 feet. When these girls are coming back, most of these people in charge of reintegration don't even know the right thing to do. They believe they understand. Yes, I know there are policies in places, but it's actually more practical. All these things are actually more practical. They need to first understand what these girls have experienced before they can provide solutions. Everything is not white and black. There are sometimes it has to be blue, sometimes it has to be purple. The way you reintegrate survivor A is not the way you reintegrate survivor B. It doesn't work that way. One single policies can't help this girl. So there has to be flexibility. And the only people that can actually handle this effectively are survival leaders. So I believe survival leaders should be put in that position to bring these girls back home and help them reintegrate properly. This is one of the ways we can actually prevent the trafficking.
Oh, Isa, can I call you a survival leader as well? Because my next question is really about to speak on the experiences of these girls and being repatriated from Mali and then returning to Mali. What exactly is the condition living there, and why is it so alluring to go back? Is it a role of traffickers, being able to convince them, or is it just because you come back and then on your own volition you go back again? Help me make sense of this, please.
Okay, yes, you can call me a survival leader, but I am not from Mali. I came back from Libya. And now let me tell you one crazy thing about this thing. When you talk to girls in Libya or Mali, they do not believe they are victims of human trafficking. I don't know, the system is just so, these traffickers, they are well structured. They are well structured that the system don't even let you know that you are being trafficked. You see them as your own Lord and your personal savior. They provide you everything they want you to want, emphasis on everything they want you to want. There's a way they reprogram this girl's mind to just, they bring down their self-esteem, and they just program their mind to make them see that particular person that trafficked them as their Lord and personal savior. So when they come back to Nigeria, one, there's this stigma waiting for them that, oh, she just come back from Mali, she go do Ashawo, she just come back from Libya, she go do Ashawo, this, that. There's no welcome because there was actually a push factor that pushed these girls out. The push factor is actually still waiting for them. It has not been addressed. So it actually takes this level of determination for girls that come back to stay at home and not go back. So unless their mind is being reprogrammed, the push factors that actually sent them away the first time is being addressed, they will always go back. Most of these people, they come back with nothing. When they are repatriated from prison and brought back home, they are back with nothing. Yes, okay, the Nigerian government or IOM or anybody might want to set them up with business. But first, are these girls capable of running this business? I mean, these are people that are addicted to drugs. They've been locked up in a place for a very long time. Everything is they're just starting afresh. And the first thing you're telling them to do is run a business. Some are actually coming with a baby. I mean, these girls are young. They are not even equipped for motherhood. You want them to raise that child and still run a business in a hostile environment. How does it work? It can't work. So the only thing they can still do is to go back to that trafficker that's been providing them with everything they think they need. It is very simple, even though it looks complicated, but it's actually very simple. Before you bring these girls back, please let there be a structure for them that will enable them to stay in a friendly environment.
Oh, Isa, I have
Look at
so
the
many
houses.
questions.
It's not in a conducive place.
Oyiza, I have so many questions to ask. First off, please, if you can answer these questions successively with very short answers so that we can get to the end of it. First of all, what is the average, what's the range of age of these girls that are trafficked?
Currently, we've spoken to girls of about 12 years, 13 years. So we'll say they start from about 12 to 22.
And how much does it cost for an individual to engage anyone, a trafficker in this case, on this journey?
From Nigeria to Libya should be around 500,000. From Nigeria to Mali should be around 3,400,000.
Naira.
Naira, yes, in Naira.
Okay. So upon getting to these locations, what are they met with? Are they given a facility to stay? Because I hear you say that they end up in prisons, in jails. So what happens in between when they get to the country, when they land in the country, and when they get into jail? What are they doing within that period? What are they trafficked for, I guess I'm asking?
Okay, some are used for forced labor. They allow them to go work for a family while they pay the traffickers. They pay for about 1 year, 2 years, while some are just sold into prostitution ring immediately. They give them a specific amount of money to pay, and they have to work and pay it back. So, you know, they do not have documents. So chances that they'll be arrested by the police is high. And so whenever they're arrested, they're just moved to prison.
So why would anybody's auntie, and I'm asking this because you made a reference to aunts sending their nieces over, why would anybody's auntie send a niece over? Are they getting back any kind of funds from the traffickers themselves?
Oh, yes. To get a girl from Nigeria, these traffickers pay the people they call agents 50,000 naira per girl. So all these aunties, street brothers, church leaders, religious leaders, friends, they get 50,000 on each girl.
Wow.
And lastly, my final question for you, what would be your call to the Nigerian government, to the organization? What would be your call to break this cycle? I don't think preventing is the word. It's breaking this cycle once and for all. How should they go about this?
Okay, I have been a survivor leader officially for about 3 years, and I can tell you categorically that human trafficking can be curbed. Like we've seen results. It is practical. So I believe survivor inclusion, they have to work with survivor leaders to first understand what is going on. And the only trend of irregular migration is not one. There are different ways people can be trafficked. We've counted about 13 ways. So we have to actually explore all these ways and create a campaign, social media awareness, door-to-door awareness, going to villages and create a strategy to campaign and reach people so that they don't ignorantly fall into this trap. So they are trying their best, but they are not doing enough. The policies are not favoring us. They are not favoring these girls. So there has to be a review of all the policies, working with survivor leaders, and they have to just do more. They need to prevent these people from leaving. That is actually one of the best ways to get results.
Oyiza, I must say thank you. You have been sublime today, and thank you for sharing your experience with us and being so bold and brave and wonderful this morning. We appreciate you for doing this with us. Oyiza Yakubu, she's Executive Director, Luna Foundation, giving us a bit of insight on illegal migration and human trafficking in Nigeria to Libya and Mali. Once again, many thanks. We're going to a short break and we come. Sorry, there we go.
It's all right, it's okay.
We're going to a short break. When we come back, we'll come back to Wellness Central. And this time, we're shining our eyes, literally. It's World Sight Day. Stay with us.
And today on Wellness Central, we shine our eyes, literally. We're shining a spotlight on one of the most critical aspects of our health, and that's our sight. It's often said that the eyes are the windows to the soul, yet in Nigeria, we tend to neglect the eye health in our everyday lives, whether it's skipping regular checkups, if at all we do have checkups, or ignoring early warning signs of vision problems, or underestimating the importance of preventive eye care. Well, sight health remains low on our people's list of priorities, and I dare say that I took it a bit nonchalantly until it was too late myself. But sight is a gift, and protecting it is crucial. And according to health experts, millions of Nigerians are at risk of preventable blindness and other eye diseases, which is why today, on World Sight Day, celebrating it throughout the week, we're taking a step toward raising awareness and encouraging people to be proactive about their eye health. for cataracts to glaucoma and diabetes, rhinopathy, Nigeria faces significant challenges when it comes to eye health. So how can we change the way we think about our eyes, and what steps can we take to ensure a future where fewer people suffer from vision impairment?
Well, to answer these questions and more, joining us here in the studio, we have very esteemed guests, starting with Dr. Efosa Irene. He is the coordinator, NOA Ikeja Zonal, and he'll be discussing the role of the National Orientation Agency in promoting eye care. We also have with us in the studio Dr. Nkechi Ogwo. She's the Deputy Zonal Coordinator, NOA Ikeja Zone, who will also provide insight on early detection, as well as treatment and the cultural factors affecting eye health awareness in Nigeria. So, ladies and gentlemen,
doctors,
welcome to the program. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
First of all, World Sight Day. First of all, what does it mean for Nigeria, especially when it comes to raising awareness about the eyes? Mazino just shared his own personal experience. I, for one, also I thought I was seeing 20/20 until one day I was supposed to attend some training, and then I was sitting at the back, and the whole time I just couldn't pay attention because I couldn't see. And then the next time I came into treat to come for the following day, I sat down for it. I'm like, oh my goodness, I can see better now. You know, what was going on? And then the instructor said, I think you should get your eye tested. And I said, oh, I can see 20/20. She said, I also said the same thing, go check. And then I did. Turns out, I cannot see you. It was blurry, the entire thing. It made perfect sense. But yeah, I wear glasses, but I've seen enough of Nigeria. So that's why I don't wear glasses. I see enough of Nigeria. So, but anyway, why is that? Tell us what World Sight Day would mean for us Nigerians when it comes to raising awareness. And I'll start with the lady first.
Thank you for having us. World Sight Day is an event that was being orchestrated by Lions Club sometime in the year 2000. Just to promote eye health amongst populations in the world generally. However, it was integrated into Vision 2020, and currently it's been run by IAPB, which is International Agency for Blindness Prevention, in collaboration with World Health Organization to promote eye health and create awareness globally amongst people. And this has come to stay. Like in the past 4 years, we've actually been clamoring for you loving your eyes. And this year, we are entirely and totally focused on children eye health, because we notice that children are one of the most neglected among society. Sometimes maybe because parents believe that it's peer pressure for them to want to check their eyes, but it's actually an error, you know. And so we're actually clamoring for parents to pay attention to their children's health and check their eyes at least once every year.
Dr. Efosa, when it comes to awareness and eyesight and eye health, what are some common problems that is among Nigerians, especially with children, giving their children the focus for this year?
Okay, like she rightly said, the World Sight Day started in the year 2000 with the Lions Club. Children, basically, if you look at the history, the leading cause of blindness is refractive error, closely followed by cataracts. So what we are trying to do as optometrists and eye practitioners is to see how we can create awareness with all those different conditions. Refractive error is basically short-sighted, long-sighted, and astigmatic. Patients having issues seeing afar. Patients having issues reading and all that. But all these things, there's no way you would know without having a comprehensive eye examination. So if you have a child that has the habit of moving close to the TV, or if you're a teacher and then the child is sitting at the back, he or she can't see the board, you need to draw the attention of the parents so something can be done so that this child can be examined. So basically, the two leading causes of blindness right now in the world is refractive error and cataract. Cataract is simply put opacity of the lens. Initially, we say, oh, cataract is a disease of the old age. But these days, you have congenital cataract. Children are born with cataracts. Wow. And there are so many different types of cataracts. It could be traumatic also. Wow. But the good thing about this condition is that they are reversible. Wow. So we need to see these patients on time so we can attend to these conditions when they present.
Wow.
The story you told is actually the story of my life from this week, because my daughter comes back home and says, the teacher said to tell me that she can't see from back of the class. I'm like, you can't see. No, don't start now, was what I said. So apparently, I'm part of the problem in Nigeria. My entire family, we all use glasses growing up, and I neglected using them until much later, much well into my 30s. Now, what effect does that have on the eye? I am long-sighted, long-sighted, and I didn't think that it was a problem. I mean, I could manage well until back at where we used to work. It took me out for an entire month, and I didn't know exactly what was causing all the headaches, eye redness,
tension,
backache, backache,
all the way to your ears.
And went to the doctor. The doctor says it's your eyes. I'm like, backache, eye, which one now? What's it concern and overload? You know, but it was my eyes causing backache. So how can neglect make the situation, or if you can give a timeline to blindness, how can neglect make the situation
You know,
bad?
like we say, early intervention and early detection is key. So sometimes, like you said, in Nigeria, there's just this stigma to the use of glasses. People just think, oh, you can't wear glasses, because you feel that when you wear glasses, some among the children, you have them calling themselves names like Four Eyes, you know, things like that, and as if they're blind. But checking your eyes is not just all about glasses. So we are actually advocating that parents should bring their children for eye check. The best time for a child to be tested is at birth, because there are various at birth, there are various conditions that could affect that child. Some of them are congenital. One of such could be amongst preterm babies. Preterm babies, like we have a retinopathy of prematurity. So at birth, the child is tested at 6 months, 1 year, 3 years, pre-kindergarten or pre-elementary school, and every year. So we're actually asking parents that as you prepare for back to school for your child, you should also take that child to test their eyes. Eye check is to be amongst your checklist for back to school, you know, for the children. And when the children comes and they tell you, my teacher says I can see, please do not doubt them. It's important for them to come check their eyes. Now, he asked a very key question. At what time can you prevent this? What is the time range to the point where it can, blindness can occur? There are some conditions in the eye, like you have a child that has a squint, you know, one eye turning the other, and a lazy eye, and nothing is being done. At a certain age, that can be corrected. But when it's gone past the age of 9, it could be difficult.
Really?
Yeah, so you have something like amblyopia set in, where the eye just gets used to seeing a certain way. So it has actually affected the developmental process of that child. So
and also the quality of life.
And also, yes, very important, the quality of life, cognitive, you know, social life. You see these children withdrawn, you know, to themselves, because they really can see, and what you don't have, you don't miss. So they feel that most other children see that way, you know, and that can be a problem for their success in future.
I wonder about, you know, our present modern day and how environmental factors have influenced, you know, the health of our eyes. You know,
how is Nigeria affected?
I think that, you know,
call it what it is.
But most importantly, you know, when I talk about modern day, I mean, you know, our appliances, our televisions, and even the tab. I mean, my niece and my siblings, their offsprings, when you see them, half the time they're like this. And I don't know if it's me as well, because half the time I'm also like this on, you know, looking at things. But with my own, I'm going to use my as example, my own eye issue, it was first of all short-sightedness, and then astigmatism played into it repeatedly. And I just kept overlooking it until when the doctor said, well, look, we have to get you these glasses. And the glasses, the frames are getting thicker and thicker, and it's, you know. So let's speak on environmental factors, but most importantly, the use of appliances and the effect on our eyesight. But I'm going to come to you, Doctor.
I'll take it from there. The current world has become a visual world. So everything you do now is basically with your sight. We can be here and then having meetings with different people from all over the world. This is done with your sight. And how do you do that? Electronic gadgets. This is even made difficult by the advent of COVID. When COVID came, it locked us up. So everything became a visual thing. When you look at your tabs, your phones, your laptops, and all that, there's a ray coming out of the screen. with each level of development comes its own issues. Okay, the rays coming from the screen, they go hit your eyeballs and they give you issues. There is a spike in the level of dryness in the eye. Those days we say, oh, dryness basically was that for the elderly people. So when we say the eyes are dry, we say the eye is not secreting enough tears, or the tear film is not slimy enough to lubricate the eye. But if you have your eyes exposed to these gadgets, the tear film tends to evaporate faster. So dry eye has become a major issue with our children because of our vocation. In this kind of environment that you are, with light everywhere. So I can imagine what you guys go through on a daily. So your eyes basically should be dry.
There was a time I was supposed to do something, and I woke up, I had this, one of the eye had been swollen because it was so dry. I started to itchy. If you had seen me, you'd think maybe I was in some fight, and they, gave me some serious blow in both eyes, and they were red. And so I had to use the eye drop, and I literally had to take 2 or 3 hour nap.
I knew she was going to say that. You mentioned a buzzword there, eye drop. Go on, doctor.
This is how it is. We need to be guided when it comes to eye drops.
Yeah, well, that was prescribed.
Very important.
Prescribed, I like the word. Yeah. There are so many different brands and so many different medications, and quackery is a major issue. So I'll try and elaborate on the tear film. It is actually made up of 3 different layers. There's a layer that contains water, there's a layer that contains the nutrients, and there's the layer that holds these layers together, the oily layer. Okay, but for the younger people, the layer that contains water because of exposure to gadgets tend to evaporate a lot faster.
Right.
But for the elderly, the oily layer tends to lose viscosity. If I'm describing it to my patients, I use this car engine oil. If you get a fresh engine oil and just dip your hand inside, you bring out your hand, the oil is viscous, it's slimy. Yes. But with age, it loses that ability, it becomes watery. You understand? So when you want to get eye drops, please make sure they are prescribed. And let's not be deceived. You may have other issues added to the dry eye. You could have allergy. So it's a combination of allergic condition and dry eyes. And then you mentioned the myopia and the astigmatic components. All these things, they work together. But each of these conditions will have to be addressed independently. A patient may have 2, 3 different conditions, but you take them the way they present. You understand? So if you want to get your eye drops, please make sure you get the eye drop from the right source.
Now, we're pressed for time, but very quickly, NOA here, raising awareness. What would be your call to Nigerians, especially parents and want-to-be parents like myself listening? Mazino, pay attention.
What we are saying to parents and to Nigerians at large is we should prioritize our eye health. Eye health is not an option. It is very, very vital. And the future of our great country depends on our youngest generation. So we should ensure their eyes are tested and they are able to appreciate their environment and achieve their greatest goal in life, which they cannot be able to do if their sight is compromised. So please, we are calling on parents, stop side practicing with your children. What I mean by that is stop taking these children to quacks. For some of us, we have some parents who just instill anything in the eyes of their children. Child says, Mom, my eyes are having issues, and they see the mother putting onions. Some as bad as instilling acid water, engine oil,
I'm sorry,
tomatoes, water.
It's bad.
It is
very bad.
I grew up with onions under my eye bags. I mean,
And these children could show up in the clinic with scarred cornea. And that is a very, very serious issue, because here we're talking about maybe if it affects the visual pathway, then we're talking about a corneal transplant. So
it's not a cure for annual conjunctivitis.
Stop doing self-medication, bring these children to the clinic and let them be assessed, let them be examined by eye care specialists. And we're also calling on the government to, as much as possible, promote eye health and eye awareness, especially in the rural areas. You'll be amazed at the kind of disease we see in the rural areas and hard, difficult to reach areas, inner city areas. Serious eye conditions that these children, they've come up with. And there is no access to health care. So we are asking them to promote health care, make health care affordable. We think we are happy for the new NHIS scheme that has come up, but we need to see more results. We need to see the impact of these in the lives of our future generation and in the lives of Nigeria at large. So all the eye cares, we're asking them to promote eye care in the primary healthcare centers. We have them all over the place. We need to have more optometrists come up. We need to have more optometrists employed in the eye care sector in Nigeria. Thank you very much.
Dr. Efosa, you reacted when I asked if it isn't a cure for the very common ailment we see at certain times of the year, annual conjunctivitis. Apollo, yes, that's what they call it.
Apollo is simply a viral infection. So, but there's this misconception about conjunctivitis. The conjunctiva is about 3 different layers. So sometimes the patient comes in and then you look at the eye. From a layman's perspective, the eye is white, it's not red, it's not inflamed. When we say red, inflamed. But by the time you pull the lid downward, there's a furnace under. That may be red, that may be inflamed. Say, oh, this patient has a conjunctivitis. Not the red, not this the white part that you see, but beneath it. Okay? There's conjunctivitis. Well, now you now need to classify them into the different types of conjunctivitis. Apollo, like I said before, is a viral infection. Some people call it a pink eye. There are other conjunctivitis. There's a bacterial conjunctivitis, there's allergic conjunctivitis, and there's a venous conjunctivitis. The allergic conjunctivitis and the venous conjunctivitis are basically the same, just that the venous is an improved form of conjunctivitis as against the allergy. Allergy simply means reacting to something. The venous, like I said, is a viral, and then the bacteria is a bacterial infection. So if you have conjunctivitis, we need to know which type of conjunctivitis do you have. The viral conjunctivitis ordinarily should run its course after 2 weeks. It should resolve. But if in case of management, after 2-3 days, if it doesn't resolve, then you need to see a doctor.
Okay. Dr. Fosa, that's a very, very good suggestion. Thank you very much. Please note, clarify with your doctor exactly which one it is before you go into your personal treatment. And onions are bad, according to Dr. Ogbo.
No, onions, I didn't say onions are bad. Instilling onions in the eye
in
of
the
the
eye,
child.
onions in your eye are bad. You can eat it.
Self-medication until it is prescribed. Until
Yeah.
it's prescribed, any self-medication is bad. We've been talking about World Sight Day and the importance of getting your eye checked, regular checkups, and some very common issues or common problems that we see with our eyes, especially for parents. If your child has an issue, if they're standing close to television, if they complain they cannot see at the back of the class, or you notice that their notes are never complete. 9 times out of 10, it's most likely because they cannot see. Or they're missing letters, or it's incomplete. It's because they cannot see. I know, I'm short-sighted. Take them. Go to the doctors and get them tested.
And
again.
one more thing.
Yes.
The Nigerian Optometric Association Lagos State chapter. Most of the clinics in Lagos State are open for free eye tests in celebration of World Sight Day.
Okay.
This has been on from Monday this week and even up till today. And some clinics will also be opening to next week. So the children can go for their free comprehensive eye examination, at least to know where the problem is and to start.
Thank you for that.
And then the key word, each time you go to these clinics, tell them you are for the World Sight Day. And kids, not adults.
Kids. There you go.
Free
Not adults.
eye examination for kids.
Dr. Efosa IRA, thank you so much for coming on. NOA Ikeja Zonal Coordinator. Also with us is Dr. Nkechi Ugo, also Deputy Zonal Coordinator for the NOA Ikeja Zone. Lady, gentlemen, thank you so much. This is where we close the curtain and wrap up today's installment of Breakfast Extra.
Thank you.
Thank you
Yes,
for
indeed.
having us.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for staying with us since 8 o'clock. Another installment for tomorrow, Sunday edition, will start at 8 o'clock still, so join us then. Promises to be a great review of everything from last week and as we look ahead into the week coming. Until then, it's goodbye from us. Catch you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow. Bye.